Hi everyone, today we're going to do a basic walkthrough of how to use SketchUp to plan your camper van build. There is a free desktop app that we're going to use and show you all the basic tools to basically plan your van build layout through the finish like this. As you can see here, this is our layout and here is our final camper van design. If you do it right, it can be incredibly useful to making your van build easier. We truly believe, after converting 2 camper vans ourselves and helping countless others, that planning through the finish line with a 3D model like this is super helpful. We have a complete ebook as well that will walk you through every single step you need to get from idea to this design, while this video is just focusing on how to actually use SketchUp because it's got a steep learning curve, but what we learned is with just a few hotkeys and tips, you can build this. So, step number 1, you are going to open a free account on app.sketchup.com. It is a desktop-based software. You're going to hit create new, and you're going to be brought to this 3D workspace. You have your X plane, your Y plane, and your Z plane. The first thing I always do is delete whatever person is put in the corner, and you're left with this kind of like space that moves around and seems overwhelming, but do not worry, because the first thing we're going to do is teach you some hotkeys. Hotkeys are letters that you press on your keyboard that are going to bring up specific tools and is going to make your development a lot quicker. First one is O. So to move around your workspace, tap the letter O, and then you can use your trackpad to orbit or hold shift and move. So if you ever kind of get lost, hit that O and start looking around for your project. Additionally, on your trackpad, you can just zoom in and out with a 2-finger pinch or expand. Next, the basis of all creations, in my opinion, is a rectangle. You'll be surprised to know this. At the end, though, you'll be drawing so many rectangles. So hit the letter R, and this rectangle tool pops up. You can click anywhere. It is kind of always good to start in the corner, just, for good practice. So let's hit O, and let's center that. Zoom in a little bit. Let's hit R now, click that corner. And as you see here, we're making a rectangle in the XY plane. If you later on want to switch that plane, you can use your arrow keys. So hit the left one to go on the ZX plane, hit the right one to go on the X or the YZ plane, and then hit the up arrow to go back to XY. And you don't have to remember which ones they are. Typically, I'll just, toggle through them quick and be like, oh, that's the right one. Okay, then next, if you look in the bottom right corner, you're going to see a dimensions that's changing as I move around. And I think it's always good to know what dimensions you're drawing because, if you end up doing something like this, then cutting, wood or 80-20 to that specific length, it's going to be hard. So what I like to do is just type like exactly what I want. So let's just do a regular box, 10 by 10. Perfect. And you can see here that we need to zoom in now because we were zoomed out really far. If you hit T, a tape measure is going to pop up, and you can always at any point measure sides and lengths of things. So it's popping up as 10, 10, or say you want to build something at the 5 mark, then what you can do is put your tape measure on a length, type 5, and it's going to hit enter, and it's going to drop a little spot there for you. Then you could hit L. L is a line. You can put that line on that little guide point and then draw up. So say you wanted to draw up 20 inches, or that might have been 20 feet by accident, but then you could do something like that. Control Z out of there, remove that guide point. The next tool is P. So this means push or pull. So you hit P, this cool thing pops up. You can hover over any face and begin to drag up or down. So we're at 0. Say we wanted this, say this is a bench, right? So we want it to be 13 inches high. We type 13 inches and it expands. And this is how you actually get kind of geometric shape. So, you know, say you wanted now like an angled box. You would hit L, go to the guide points, go there, and then you can kind of like disappear that side out of there. So push and pull is a good way to make kind of abstract objects. As you can see here, we're kind of getting there. But obviously none of this looks like a van build, so translating this to a van build, let's Control Z out of here, go back to nothing. So let's build a quick bench out of 10 series, and I will show how we can then move things around and rotate them. So let's create just a box in the corner that we're going to move things around. So let's do a 10-inch by 10-inch box. Oh wow, we're super zoomed out. Let's zoom in. Ooh. Hit that O, shift it, orbit down. Okay, now zoom. Okay, so we have a 10-inch by 10-inch box, and then let's raise it by 10 inches as well. Cool. So that's just kind of like a centering ground for us. And then over here, orbit, shift and clicked. Okay, we're gonna draw a bench out of 10 series 80/20. So that means that we need a 1-inch by 1-inch box, and we want to draw the bottom piece first. So let's constrain it to that plane, 1-inch by 1-inch. Let's make it, we're gonna pull it, let's do 12 inches. Now here's another trick. We can triple click, Command C, Command V, and then we get an identical one. And let's just drop that over here. Oop. Drop it there. So you just drag and click. And now, whoops. To exit out of any tool, you can hit the space bar. Okay, let's orbit. So you can see here that it's really hard to get things on the same level. So for this, we're going to use a kind of snap to feature. And so let's triple click one of them. We're going to hit Control C, Control V, and we're going to drop a third, right? So once we drop it, we're going to then triple click again. We're going to hit Q, and you can see this kind of looks like a protractor kind of thing, but what it does is rotate. And with the same up, down, left, right, you can change the plane. Sometimes it's hard to see what plane you're rotating it on, so I'll typically just start with one and then see which way it rotates. Okay, so that's not right because we're trying to rotate it to a 90-degree angle. So let's try it again. Q. Bottom right corner, you can see that as we're rotating it, the angle is changing. So let's hit 90. Okay, there we have it. And then what you can do is triple click the other 80/20 piece, hit the letter M, click one of the corners. So let's click the back right because we want this back right corner to go right here. Click that, the M, and then you can drag and it'll snap to that corner to a corner that makes sense. So if you're trying to move this piece from here to here, you don't want to click this corner because, you know, that's not going to snap to anything. But if you click this top corner, you can just snap to it right there. And then to click out, hit the space bar, click away, grab the other piece, grab that back right corner, drag it here. Perfect. Now let's rotate it a little bit, that orbit button, and let's do the same thing over here. So hit the letter T, that's going to bring up a tape measure, and we can see here that in the bottom right corner, this is exactly 1 foot. So now instead of duplicating it, we're going to try something else. We're going to draw another rectangle, lock it to the right plane, which looks like the green plane. Yep, we're going to do 1 by 1. Hit P, we're going to drag it out to 12 inches. Great, triple click, hit M, grab that back right corner and snap it too. So that can be the base of our bench. Let's hit orbit again, O. If you ever get anything weird like this, go ahead and just click it and hit delete. Great. So now let's build up. So let's say we want our bench to be 13 inches high. We already have 1 inch on the bottom, so let's draw 1 and just copy and paste them. Triple click this area, hit Control C, Control V, drag that over there for later. We know the top frame is also going to be 1 inch, so our vertical beams only need to be 10 inches. So go ahead and hit R, drag it out to 1 by 1 inch, hit P, drag it up, type 10. Great, we have a 10-inch beam, triple click it, and then we know we need 4. So we're Control C, Control Ving 4 times. Draw the 4th one here. Control C, Control V. All right, so we have all the components of our bench. Triple click one of the beams, hit M, grab one of the corners. So if we're able to grab this corner, we can just drop it there. Space bar out, click away, hit M. Let's see, we can get this middle corner. So hit M, grab that corner, drop it there. Triple click the next one, hit M, let's grab the outer corner. Let's see, it's not wanting to grab. So when it's not wanting to grab, just kind of drop it somewhere near, and I like to zoom in and basically just try again. Also doesn't want to work. Okay, so let's hit O. And you'll see, like, as you start to rotate, you'll see that, oh, it was a little bit confused with the height. So just kind of rotating it a little bit, hitting that M again and trying again. This is good for the demo because sometimes it does get tricky like this, and you have to kind of hover it around until you can get close enough to get it. Perfect. Hit that O again. Let's go grab the other guy. Where'd he go? Hit shift over. Oh, there he is. And let's make sure that this corner is in the frame before we grab it. So hopefully this one will be a little bit easier. Hit M, grab it. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. Hit O, rotate again. Now we're going to triple click the top frame we made. M, grab the corner, and we can reach this corner. So let's do that. Hit spacebar to get out. And then let's hit O, zoom out a bit, and show what we've made. So look, here is our bench we made. And if you want to make it a little more realistic, sometimes what I like to do is let's hit T, see how long this was. 14 inches by 12 inches. So what you could do is come over here and do a 14 inches, that's feet by 12-inch rectangle, hit P. Let's say we're going to have a 3-inch cushion, so we're going to drag it up 3 inches. And, okay, so theoretically, we want to drag this here, which is a cushion, right? But as soon as we do that, so I'll show you. You see, as soon as I dropped it, those became connected, and it's really hard then to like move anything away. Like you can't just select the cushion ever again. It's all one. So we don't want that to happen. So let's Control Z out of there. Before we connect our 80/20 module with our cushion or piece of plywood or whatever, we're gonna triple click the 80/20 module. We're gonna right click. We're gonna hit Make Component, and we're gonna name it. So let's say this is bench number 1, and we're gonna hit OK. We're gonna do the same thing here, triple click, hit the right click, hit Make Component, and do bench number 1 cushion. Okay. Is triple click, and now that these are components, we can triple click and move this cushion as a whole onto this 80/20 module, but we can also, you know, handle our 80/20 module by itself. So we can be like, oh, I didn't like that cushion, like let me get rid of it, or okay, yeah, we can put it back, and now you can handle things separately, which is great. The other thing that I recommend doing is tagging resources. So if you triple click module, you can hit this. If you triple click modules, you can hit this tag button, and you can hit new tag name. And what I would do is like name all my 80/20 modules something, and then click on to assign it to a new piece. You could click on it and just click that component. And now you can see that if we ever want to hide all the 80/20 modules, or we could apply the same to cushions. We could hide off fixtures or things like that. So you can kind of move around your setup easier. Orbit. Okay. So to recap, before we get into building the actual camper van layout, R is a rectangle. P is a push and pull. Oh, I guess I didn't show the pull. So the pull is like, you know, within this module, you could then, you know, do this and draw another rectangle. P, and instead of pushing, you could pull to make it hollow. So there you go. That's what it would look like if you pulled, which is a great way to create hollow objects. So that's R, that's P. M is move. So hit that corner, move something around. Q is rotate. So let's say we want to rotate our 80/20 module. We can do it that way, or we can decide that hit Q, we can rotate, hit the arrow keys and rotate it that way. T is the tape measure. So if you forget like how long something was, you can measure between corners, or you can utilize the T to tell you where to build off of. So if you had this module and you were like halfway at 7 inches, I want to build up. So you would click at 7 inches or type, you know, 7 inches and hit enter. And then you would have a guide point to then build off of. And that's all for the hotkeys. And now we're going to delete everything, and I'm going to teach you how to build the base of your camper van. So let's recenter ourselves. And step 1, I want you to go to upfitsupply.com, and you're going to look for a diagram of the interior cargo dimensions for your specific chassis. So here I have our Ford Transit 148 wheelbase extended. If that's not what you want, you could just type something like interior cargo Mercedes, and you can pick yours, and it will come up with the dimensions. And once you have that, we're going to transcribe that with everything we just learned to our SketchUp diagram. So grab that. It's to avoid going back and forth between two screens like this, I'm just going to kind of freeform try to build the base. I absolutely recommend centering on the main axes for when you lay out the base of your camper van, just because it'll be helpful to see these in the corner. So let's start by doing the floor, which is, if I'm remembering correctly, 68 inches wide by 145 long. Do the rectangle tool. There you go. Zoom in on it, orbit, shift, scooch over. And you can give it some depth if you want. You really don't need to. Oops. Be careful to hit escape. 68, 145. Perfect. If you want to color it, you could triple click it and come over here to this tool, and let's say we want that, and do that. So let's do something more subtle. Perfect. Okay. In the back of vans, often there are like 1 inch or let's say 3 inch by 5 inch cutouts for the B pillars. So what we would do, hit that R tool, come to the back corner. Let's lock it to the plane because it's having a little bit of difficulty. Hitting the up arrow. Oops, up arrow. And let's hit 3 inches by 5 inches. And that's going to give us where the B pillar is. Triple click and hit, or double click and hit delete, sorry. Or we can do the same thing on this side. 5 inches by 3 inches and just see. Just hit actually a single click and hit delete. And then you'll also have to kind of hit those lines and delete them. So there's the B pillars. Next up, there's often wheel wells. So in your diagram, it's going to tell you where the wheel wells sit. Say ours are 3 feet from the back of the van. So we're going to get that tape measure. Measure 36 inches. 36 inches. It's going to drop a guide point. And from there, in your diagram, it's going to tell you how wide those are. So let's say they are 12 inches by 4 inches wide. Drop that. Actually, that doesn't look big enough. 15 inches by 5 inches. Okay. And if they are 7 inches tall, we're going to hit that P for the push-pull. We're going to draw 7 inches up. And then it should also specify, because these are kind of trapezoids, it will specify where that will start to happen. So let's zoom in and say like 2 inches up. So we're going to use the tape measure tool to drop a guide point. Hit that tape measure again. Let's say 4 inches out. That looks too far. Let's do 3 inches out. Drop a guide point. We're going to take the line tool, connect the two guide points, hit the P, and use a push-pull tool to remove it from that side. So, because I forget, we're going to hit T. Okay, so we did 2 inches up. Tape measure, bottom corner, type 2 inches up, drop a guide point. Same thing here. We're going to drop a guide point 3 inches in, draw our line, hit L to draw a line between the two, connect the 2 points, push-pull tool, and pull it out. So you can then see your wheel well. And what I would do is just click on these small lines and just delete them. You can also delete your guide points if you would like. So we did that on one side. Let's quickly do it on the other. All right, excellent. So you have your wheel wells. The next thing I would do is start to maybe draw out your slider step. So most people have a slider step. Oh, let's say hit that tape measure. I don't know, maybe it's 6 inches in and it's usually like 3 or 4 feet. So let's do 36 inches from there and say it's 7 inches deep. So we'll connect those two and do 36 inches by 7 inches deep. Now we're going to single click that area, hit delete, and hit that small line, hit delete. Perfect. And then from here, there might be some other small cutouts you need to make, but for the sake of time, I think you guys get the point by now. I think it would be good to basically make this 3D now. So we have our wheel wells, we have our cutout. There might be some B-pillars here or, I don't know, cutouts elsewhere, but let's draw the rest of the van. So you're going to then need the vertical dimensions. So you're going to click one corner. You're going to start to go up on the blue axes, and I think 79 inches might be right. So we're going to type 79, hit escape, and do that on all 4 corners. Hit escape, or actually I should say all of the corners, and make sure you're staying on the z-axis when you do this. You can see, let's see, hit escape after each one, 79 inches, escape, 79 inches, escape, and you don't have to see the tops of them. We'll get there in a sec. Escape, 79 inches, escape, 79 inches, escape. And if you can't, just like there, if you saw like I wasn't able to lock to any axis, just hit that up arrow and you should be able to lock to the z-axis. All right, so we have that. Oop, I forgot to hit escape. Let's orbit, slide over. And now we're simply gonna connect the lines. So maybe get to the top and just boop. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted. So once this happens, the cabin of your van is going to be here, so obviously you don't want that. So you can always just click on a face and hit delete. So you'll have the lines, but not the face. And you can decide where you want to keep them or not keep them. Let's see, we're going to connect all these. Boop, boop, boop. Oops. Zoom in a little bit. Perfect. Click, connect, connect, connect. Let's rotate ourselves. And perfect. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm kind of realizing like, oh, this is what a van looks like, but it's kind of hard to build something when there's walls. So I'm just gonna delete all the faces, except for the B-pillars maybe. And now, or even what a cool idea would be to leave them and tag them all. Here, let's do that. So let's put them back. Let's go to tag, hit a new tag, and we're gonna do walls. Great, so we're gonna click on walls and we're gonna now tag all of the walls. So walls, tag, tag, tag. And then we should be able to toggle them on and off. So let's leave them off for now. All right, so that is how to do a floor plan. Of course, you know, I didn't do some of the intricacies and all of that, but I think you get the point. The other thing I want to mention before you move on from here and start drawing your modules like we described at the beginning is I want you to basically triple click and make sure you have everything. Hit right click, make component, and do van base. I promise you that that's going to be super important because as soon as you drop something on here, it's going to merge with the base and you'll never be able to delete it. So make sure your chassis itself is its own thing. I'm not going to go too much further, but the last thing I want to add is that when you are beginning your van build plan, we have a complete guide to doing this the most efficient way and getting in the right mindset and making sure everything is right. But one of the things that we mentioned in that guide is to start with your major items. So if you know that you have a fridge that is, you know, 24 inches wide and 30, let's do 24 inches wide, 20 inches long, and 30 inches high, like you should make that box, make it a component, right, fridge, and have this, actually let's use the bottom corner so we can drop it in, have this, you know, made at the beginning. So you can kind of get a view of things that are required and necessary for your van build. So like say we also have a toilet that takes up, this is not possible, but 10 inches by 10 inches, and then it's like, you know, 15 inches high. Like we want to have all these, components made and visible as we're like working around, you know, where will the benches be? Where will the cabinets be? You know, start with your bed in there, like have all the basics there and present, and your complete van build will start to come together when you have things to work around. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Feel free to leave any comments below, and if you would like more info, definitely give our complete guide to planning your van build properly a look. See you guys later.